Semi-axle eyesight. Is there the high drive? Deep center. Go, go, go. We're out of here. We're out of here. Say ya, playa.
Just like they drew it up in Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! And this is it for good! The Audubon Green Wave are back in the Final Four! A gold pile on their side!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DW Broadcasting's coverage of men's varsity.
From our entire crew, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.
Pre-game. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Camden Athletic Complex here underneath the beautiful Ben Franklin Bridge as we've got Game 2 of the Tri-County Baseball League semifinals between the Cherry Hill Pitman Club and the South Jersey Grizzlies. And this is the first semifinal appearance in club history for the Grizzlies, based out of Runnymede and playing at the RYAA field off of the Black Horse Pike. But because both semifinal series are technically at neutral site ballparks, this will be a bit of a change of scenery for both teams. Of course, both teams are used to hitting in their own hitter-friendly realms, CHP based out of Alcyon Park and that aforementioned Runnymede field that South Jersey plays on. But for these two teams, one is a seasoned, experienced ball club that has the most championships in Tri-County history. Meanwhile, you've got the Grizzlies, who, as we said, have never reached this semifinal point and have never made a Carter Cup appearance. But they're going to try to change that. They're going to try to break the mold. And we know with the other semifinal series, CHBR and the Rough Riders, two other very experienced and well-seasoned veteran teams of this TCBL organization. The Grizzlies are kind of the odd man out, but they're certainly one of the more underrated clubs that we've seen this year, right up there with the Sewell Wolves, and you could probably also make an argument for the Washington Township Senators as well. But out of the four teams that remain, the Grizzlies certainly have the most holes to fill in the lineup, but at the same time, they almost beat CHP last night. They fended off a big comeback and won 9-7 over the Grizzlies, and now the tables are turned. They'll set up an opposite dugout. CHP is the visiting team for this Game 2 contest, while the Grizzlies take the home dugout down the first base line. But when you have an all-South Jersey catcher like Nick Mararchi at your 9 spot, that's an impressive lineup for Nick Gruber, the assistant Paul Six coach, who is the head coach of this Summer League organization. And then you've also got Ricky Templeton of Gwetted Mercy. You've got Colin Ambrosius taking shop over at Shenandoah and formerly of West Deptford as well. You know, there's and Nick Nigro as well. There's a lot of recognizable South Jersey names on the Grizzlies roster. And while they're not something that will give ground rules right now, this is really not their last. But for these guys, it's a neutral site and a new beginning. The Grizzlies looking to hang on and stay alive for a do-or-die Game 3 tomorrow night. Meanwhile, Cherry are 10th in 33 total Carter Cup Carter Cup finals throughout the years. So, we've got starting lineups and first pitch coming up next. Head coaches just broke from home plate. Umpires taking the field. Both teams hanging outside of their dugouts and getting ready for a Game 2 of the Tri-County semifinals. We'll be right back with more. There's Danny Robeson, the rising senior right-hander at Rutgers Camden, who's getting the start tonight for the South Jersey Grizzlies as they look to stay alive in their first ever Tri-County semifinal series. The lefty had a 3.7 ERA with the Rutgers Camden Scarlet Raptors last season as a junior out of Highland Regional in Blackwood. He steps into this appearance with a complete game shutout, 34 2/3 innings, a 0.81 ERA, and a 168 batting average against. As here is the former Phillies minor league outfielder and perennial leadoff man for the Cherry Hill Pitman Club, Billy Rice. He shows bunt on the first pitch, and we are underway at 7:02 here from the Camden Athletic Complex. It's 1-0. Robeson with 43 strikeouts and 9 walks over 8 appearances this season, a 4-1 win-loss record with only 4 earned runs, 2 unearned for a total of 6 runs allowed across his 34 innings this season. Strike called. Two balls, 2 strikes. To Billy Rice. Played a couple of seasons down in the Phillies minor league system. But, you know, we've always talked about how Cherry Hill Pitman is such a tight camaraderie between all these guys. Kip Bard, the manager for over 30 years for this club, has won 8 championships. The most in Tri-County history as he taps this one over towards first base. Taken in, sliding, and he is safe. Gets in there. Just didn't get started on the right foot, and Cody Brown just didn't get off in time, and that will be an infield single for Billy Rice, as he is known for collecting a lot of those, and especially with how the ball rolls on turf, definitely helps his cause. Here's Adrian Gonzalez. Probably one of the top 5 hitters in Rutgers Camden recent history in the past 10-15 years. Was last year's Home Run Derby champion for the Tri-County League in their friendly against the South Shore Baseball League, an event hosted by BFA Sports down in Absecon last year. That's the first pitch. Fastball inside, 1-0. Let's take a look at that visiting Cherry Hill Pitman starting lineup brought to you by Tommy D's Home Improvement. Billy Rice in center field. He just took first base. Adrian Gonzalez, the current hitter. Scott Shaw takes left field in the 3 spot. Chris Rollins is the pitcher and DH as Gonzalez ropes this one out towards right center. Taken in for out number 1. Shaw in left. Chris Rollins, the pitcher and DH, going both ways on the ball tonight. He's in the cleanup spot. Austin Lay in center. Montana Millward in left. Luke Lesh at second base. Lou Alvarado taking an unorthodox position over at first base, usually behind the dish, but other plans tonight as John Wallace, the number 9 hitter, he takes the backstop for tonight's festivities. First pitch to the lefty Scott Shaw, and it's 0-1. Definitely a lefty-heavy lineup, you know, with Austin Lay and Billy Rice as well. 3-4 lefties in their lineup, not to mention a good bunch of them in the reserves as well. So it's not surprising by any means that, they're leaning on a lefty like Robeson, especially a reliable, seasoned lefty like Robeson, to get the start here in Game 2, as it's 0-2 to Luke Lesh. I keep saying Luke Lesh. He has hit 3 before for CHP, but tonight they're switching it up with Scott Shaw.
And Dan, you mentioned that lefty-heavy lineup, and that could play in Cherry Hill Pitman's advantage with the wind blowing out towards right field. Could get one of those balls over that high fence out there in right.
Especially being 3-11 to the foul pole in right field, as this one's chopped down the first base line and foul. A relatively pitcher-friendly park. Only have seen a handful of home runs here in the couple of years that we have been covering games. Stephen Schaefer, of course, of Rutgers Camden hit a few, and have seen a couple in the summer league as well. Jack Murphy has hit 1. I know Montana Millward went deep last night as the lefty delivers, swing and a miss. Rice goes down to second base, and he beats him. Stolen base for the veteran Billy Rice, and there's 2 away after the strikeout to Villanova's Scott Shaw. So Rice singled and now advances to second. Gonzalez flies out to right, and Scott Shaw strikes out to bring up Chris Rollins, who, just an unbelievable campaign he is having at the age of 36, the former Cubs farmhand and longtime assistant coach at Rowan College of Gloucester County, now known as RCSJ Gloucester, recently took a position this year to be an assistant coach at Rowan University, the main campus in Glassboro, and has 104 strikeouts across 9 starts this year. And we've seen him countless times before. Now Rice going to break for third. Throw beats him, and he's out. Billy Rice fooled South Jersey once, but did not get fooled on attempt number 2, and the Grizzlies get out of it with no damage. Chris Rollins will restart his at-bat in the top of the second, but Teddy Gorski, the shortstop for the Grizzlies, will lead us off in the bottom half of the first here on DWB from the Camden Athletic Complex. We'll be right back. And Chris Rollins, the former Cubs farmhand, getting the start for basically the team that he co-manages in Cherry Hill Pitman, or Kip's Bad Guys, as the first pitch is fouled back by Teddy Gorski. It's 0-1. Rollins was the last batter of the first, but Billy Rice thrown out at third. He singled in the infield, but was thrown out at third. Just his third caught stealing of the year. So he is now 14 for 17, or an 82%, very respectable 82% stolen base completion. And for somebody, oh wow, Gorski just knocked the zip tie off of the fence behind the plate. Not sure, we can't really get a great angle there. You can see it on the ground. They have a couple zip ties that keep the netting in place, along with the railing that's padded behind home plate, and he literally knocked one of the zip ties off and sent it to the ground. That's some precision there, but it's 1-2 from Rollins to the shortstop Gorski, with another lefty on deck here, and Zach Morales in the hole. But as we said, a bit of a change up for CHP tonight. John Wallace behind the dish, after being off yesterday, after playing Tuesday and being off Monday, and Alvarado taking first, usually a backstop or a DH for these guys. That one's outside, and it's 3-2 to Teddy Gorski, as Rollins looks to get settled in his home away from home. This one is hit well out towards center field, but straight away for Billy, and he'll make the catch for out number 1. Let's take a look at the South Jersey Grizzlies starting lineup, brought to you by Tommy D's Home Improvement and led by Paul Sixt assistant Nick Gruber. For the Grizzlies tonight, they're lining up with Teddy Gorski at short, Mateo Viola at second, Zach Morales, the Tri-County home run champion with 4 this summer, as this one is tapped foul. He takes left field, and bats fourth. Cody Brown at first batting cleanup. Cole Ambrosius of West Effort, now of Gwynedd Mercy, he takes right field. Cooper Root in center field batting sixth. Ricky Templeton at the third base spot. Nick Nigro, another PVI guy, at the DH spot. And Cherry Hill West's Nick Mararchi at the catching position in the 9th spot. Adrian Gonzalez calls for that one and backpedals for out number 2. So Gorski flies out to straightaway center, and Viola pops out to short for a relatively scratchless first frame so far, as here is Zach Morales. Had 4 home runs in the regular season. The one that we captured was versus the Pine Barrens. The 3rd longest home run on a DWB broadcast this year, went 422 feet deep into the woods of the Tabernacle Fields. The other 2 long ones were Paul Figueroa of Bergen Community College, who hit one 435 feet versus Camden County College back on April 16th, and then as well another college guy, Devin Smith of Brookdale versus RCGC, that went 429 in their Region 19 semifinal back on May 19th. Morales down on the count 1-2, as Rollins will lead off in the 2nd, followed by Austin Lay and Montana Millward. Rollins with the 1-2, kicks and delivers, gets a piece of that, and the at-bat stays alive. Rollins, the right-hander, as we said, just an unbelievable stat line. 0.45 ERA, 104 strikeouts in 9 appearances, 62 and 2/3 innings, 21 walks, and just 4 earned runs. And all 9 of his his starts have been complete games. Morales grounds out to short, and a 3 fly ball pop out and ground out, easy frame. Grizzlies go down in order, and Cherry Hill Pitman looking to break the mold, as it's no score after 1. Back in the top of the 2nd, Chris Rollins will get to restart his at-bat after Billy Rice was thrown out at 3rd to end the 1st inning. He got caught stealing for the 3rd time this year. 14 for 17 on the campaign, as Chris Rollins grabs a bat against the Rutgers-Camden lefty, Danny Robeson. First pitch is outside. Just the stats alone for Chris Robinson are something that I have never, ever seen before. Leading in basically every pitching category. He said for the last couple of years that he had been focusing on kind of, broadening his horizons a little bit. He pitched for a couple of different teams. At this point, he's doing it for fun. He's the assistant coach over at Rowan, so he still has that love for the game in him. But, the fact that there's been 167, before this game started, 167 and 1/3 innings pitched this year. Rollins has pitched 62 and 2/3. So if you put that math down, he has pitched 37% of all CHP innings this year. And there's only one other that has pitched more than 20 innings, Sean Cottrell. Montana Millward has 14, Billy Cavender has 15, Billy Rice has 16, and Austin Lay has 15 1/3. Swing and a miss by Rollins, and Robeson has strikeout number 2 for out number 1. This will bring up the lefty Austin Lay.
That was a good pitch on the outside corner there. Just got Rollins to flail at it and swing and miss for the first out of the inning.
Especially for a guy that has, that kind of star power, batting .270 this year with a .701 OPS. Not the best hitter on his team by any means, but, when you look at the fact that out of all active hitters, he's right around the middle of the pack. He's ahead of Vic Oquendo and behind Montana Millward, Jake Andre, and most of the team. But, he's more hitting in that 4 spot because he's the pitcher, kind of like the Shohei Ohtani deal. If you can pitch exceptionally well and you just happen to be a respectable hitter, they'll put you in that spot. And especially with his experience, it makes sense why. Oh, whoa! He's out! Oh, my goodness. That was a play and a half if I've ever seen one. Austin Lay grounds out on what's going to be scored as a 3-1-3, I think. I mean, that was an unusual play to say the least. Brown had trouble with it at first, and Robeson had to scoop it up and feed it back to him for out number 2, and he almost had a very unflattering error. Here's the first pitch to Montana Millward. Has some family in the Alcyon Park business with Pitman Parks and Recreation. We remember last time we went to Alcyon Park on Monday, I got a little spooked because we were bringing the equipment down to the car and the lights went out on us. I guess they thought we had left or something, and I'm like trying to walk the last 50 feet to my car and I can't see anything. That was a fun experience, but that one is down and it's 3-0. But yeah, not to mention the fact that Rollins has struck out 104, which means that across his 9 starts, he's averaging 11 and a half strikeouts, as there's a base hit in the left field by Montana Millward. This brings up Luke Lesh of Ryder. So not to mention the fact that Rollins is averaging, as a starter, 11 and a half strikeouts per game. I mean, you only really see that in, like, really heavy working relief pitchers that, strike out basically everybody in their path, like an Aroldis Chapman when he was in his prime. But with 104 strikeouts, that makes up for 52% of all CHP strikeouts. They've struck out 201 batters this year, and Rollins makes up for over half of them. Next in line is, again, Sean Cottrell, who has 19. It's just an insane stat, especially for somebody who's 36 years old and last played professional baseball, almost 10 years ago at this point. So, huge props to him, though, for being so active and so dominant over the years. But he decided this year that he was going to focus fully on the Tri-County League and, winning Kip Skies a championship. Lesh rolls one over foul over towards the first base dugout, and it is still 0-2. Lesh batting .333 with 11 hits, 33 ABs, 1 homer, 1 double, and 3 walks on the campaign. An OPS of .844 and a slugging of .455. Another one back to the screen. The first baseman, Lou Alvarado, on deck for CHP. With 2 outs in the top of the second, no score between these two clubs in Game 2 of the semifinal. So a strikeout, an unusual 3-1-3 ground out, and that one's going to skip off the glove into right field, gets past Gorski, or past Viola rather. Millward gets the third, and Lesh has a 2-out base hit to add on and bring up Alvarado with 2 away. After the slow start, definitely a promising sign for CHP. You know, look, they had the offensive production last night. They won 9-7, had to fend off a big comeback from the Grizzlies, and definitely not easy to go back-to-back nights after giving up 7 runs and having to, you know, kind of reach into your bullpen a little bit.
And it's little things like this with 2 outs just extending the inning, and now runners on the corners for Alvarado to try and break this game open early here for CHP.
And it's especially what they did last night. You know, they got hot early, cooled off, and, you know, maybe let their guard down a little bit, but it didn't stop them from winning the game in the end. And, you know, the fact that they're here tonight and now playing as a visiting team doesn't really matter too much in the neutral site world, because basically everybody's a visiting team. Runnymede got to travel, Cherry Hill's got to travel. You know, they got to meet somewhere in the middle. So, you know, the fact that these guys are playing back-to-back nights after CHP and Gartons had a day off. CHP and Rough Riders, CHBR and Rough Riders started on Monday, which is the game we covered. That game went to 10 innings, the longest DWB broadcast by innings since April 27th, 2022, as Alvarado chases a fastball away, and Robeson has 3 strikeouts through 2 frames. CHP leaves 2 runners on, and the Grizzlies look to strike back. We are tied 0-0 after a frame and a half. Bottom of the second inning, as already 8 batters through for CHP as that one goes to the backstop. Gorski, Viola, and Morales went down in order. No Ks yet for Mr. Rollins, but 4, 5, and 6 for the Grizzlies. Brown, Ambrosius, and Root. The 3 Cs, Cody Brown, Cole Ambrosius, Cooper Root. Then 7, 8, 9, Templeton, Nigro, and Marachi. Here from the beautiful Camden Athletic Complex with a breeze blowing out towards right field. We noticed that when we parked the car here, and it's been a nice week for summer. 85 degrees here, obviously a little bit cooler with the river wind. I guess that must be the river line going through, but a busy night here in Camden, especially considering the Phillies game ended around 4 o'clock today, but there was so much traffic over the bridge, considering you've got Yankees, Phillies. People are going back north to go to New York. People are going back south to go back to South Jersey and PA. So many different lines of traffic going through, not to mention that the Freedom Mortgage Pavilion is hosting a concert tonight. So you've got, you know, like we were lucky that we found a parking spot in one of the not one of the lots, but one of the side streets. That's not too far of a walk, but it's always difficult covering a game at Rutgers Camden when there's also a concert over at Freedom Morgan. That's going to be an error on Millward, as that one trickles into right center field. Gonzalez also had trouble with it, but that'll just be scored as an E4, as getting aboard on that play is the cleanup man, Cody Brown.
And when you're facing such a high-velocity guy like Rollins, even getting on with an error is enough to try and start a rally, and getting that leadoff man on, no matter how it happens, is huge for this visiting Grizzlies team. Or they're the home team,
I honestly think every team is visiting in this case, just because you're playing at a neutral site. If CHP makes the finals, it's going to be like a home series for them, all 3 games, because their home stadium is Alcyon Park. As this one is roped out towards right center field by Ambrosius. It's back. It's off the base of the wall. Going to third is Brown. He'll hold up there. Coach Gruber gives him the stop sign. He pumps on the brakes, and it's a 1-out double for West Deptford's Cole Ambrosius. Excuse me. That's a different Ambrosius of Pitman. But a double into the right center field gap, and you said it best. I mean, even getting on by an error, it sparks these guys up, and these guys like to score runs in bunches. That's why they scored 7 last night, and it's not easy to, go through with the motions and, get this, get the party started. So the fact that these guys are getting CHP on their toes early is a good thing for Gruber and these Grizzlies. Fouled back on the first pitch via a bunt by Cooper Root.
And I like the bunt attempt, the idea there from this Grizzlies team facing such a good pitcher in Rollins and Ambrosius with a good base knock, but those are going to be hard to come by against a guy like this. So trying to bunt a guy in to score early is definitely an effective strategy, just unable to get it down there.
I also like the fact that they're playing to the advantage of CHP having just a slower infield speed-wise. Like Lesh isn't the fastest third baseman you can find. Alvarado's not the fastest first baseman you can find. And Gonzalez and Millward are playing at the edge. Diving stop by Alvarado. He's not going to have a play. Nobody covered, and it's 1-0. He comes home to score as nobody covered first. They were going to throw home, and Alvarado got hung out to dry. It's an RBI single, and it's 1-0 South Jersey.
And good things happen when you hit the ball hard. Nice job to just hit it hard on the ground right at the first baseman. Alvarado with a great diving stop, but the pitcher Rollins just didn't cover, and that's an RBI single for the batter there.
I think that's just a miscommunication there, because he obviously, he faked like he was going to throw home and try to get the runner there, but then, when he decided he was going to throw over to first, there was just nobody there to cover for him. So I think it was just a case of too little too late, where he tried to get the play at first for a 3-1, but just couldn't get that there. So the new batter after Root is Ricky Templeton. That one is cracked out towards left field, hanging towards the corner, and it will one-hop off the wall, and it skips off the yellow line. Scoring is Ambrosius. Root comes around, and a 2-run double for the Grizzlies. They're on top 3-0 with a roper down the left field line off the bat of Templeton. Definitely heard some buzz in the crowd about that ball getting out, but made it work. And the Templeton out of Gwynedd Mercy grabs himself another extra base hit. Templeton with his 6th extra base hit of the year, 5 doubles, 1 homer, and a 701 OPS. Here is Nick Nigro, familiar face out of Paul Sixth in the Olympic League, or the Olympic Conference, excuse me. Nigro now out of Widener University, batting .355, 11 for 31, 7 RBIs, and a 749 OPS. So these guys still have no outs, and they have been really attacking Rollins well, which, swing and a miss there, 1 and 2. But, to quote a great Geddy Lee of Rush, you've got to have grace under pressure. And these guys have it right here against the best pitcher in the league, the most seasoned veteran in the league, who also plays both sides of the ball. There's a shallow fly ball to center. Rice, still running in, reaches out and makes the catch for out number 1. And Nigro is retired to bring up the Olympic Colonial starting catcher for the Carpenter Cup, Nick Mararchi. So the first out of the inning, and things might cool down from here, but definitely a rough patch for Cherry Hill Pitman. You started off the inning with an E4, and then you had the double by Ambrosius, the RBI single that just didn't go anywhere for Cooper Root, or didn't go anywhere for Lou Alvarado either. First pitch is a strike. And, this is the kind of situation where, you have to keep your dugout morale high, and you've already scored 3 runs. You've got the advantage. And when you're trying to tie this series as a team who is coming in, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. South Jersey Grizzlies, they are an underdog. This is their first ever semifinal appearance. They went down in the series 1-0. Cherry Hill Pitman came into this game on a pretty high pedestal. And, all South Jersey is trying to do here is knock them down a couple pegs. Because if they can do that, and if they can force a game 3, then the window is wide open. You don't know what's going to happen on Thursday night if this game ends up getting tied, or if this series ends up getting tied, Hit out towards straightaway left, and actually it's going to hook foul down the third base line. And it's 1-2. Still 1 out, and we go back to the top of the order with Teddy Gorski, the shortstop, next.
Obviously a great start for the Grizzlies to begin this game, but you can't count out Cherry Hill Pitman with that chemistry and the very balanced lineup that they have, and a lot of frames left to play. They could very easily come back in this game.
And 3 runs in this Tri-County League that is heavily pitching-based. It both means a lot and it means nothing at the same time. Look, we're in the second inning here. You've still got the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th to go through. So, and considering that we had the 10-inning game on Monday between CHBR and the Rough Riders, you don't know where this roller coaster is going to take you. And CHP has pulled out some really wild games this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if, maybe this rough patch of an inning sparks a fire in their belly or something in the middle frames. So here's Mararchi with a 1-2 count, 1 away, and Ricky Templeton on second base. Trails off and lines this one out towards third, goes right to Luke Lesh on a hop, and it is in time for out number 2, as here's Teddy Gorski. Gorski flew out to straightaway center his first time. And after 4 straight batters got on base, including 3 hits in a row, 2 doubles and a single, and 1 error as well, a fly out and a ground out have kind of mellowed this inning out and have brought Rollins back down to earth. Here is the first pitch. Gorski takes a strike. Gorski, the utility man who can really play anywhere out of Stockton University, batting .265, 13 for 49, 10 walks, 4 stolen bases, and a .710 OPS. Quickly down 0-2. And on deck, if the inning continues, will be Mateo Viola out of Delaware Valley University. Here's the 0-2. That one's roped into right field, and Gorski's going to get a hit from the leadoff spot. Alvarado calls for a cutoff. Runner's going to come to the plate, and the throw is up the line. Wallace slides for it, and he fakes a throw to second base. That's an RBI for Teddy Gorski, and it is 4-0 Grizzlies.
Great 2-strike hitting there from Gorski. Just hands right to the ball, drives it out to right field, and scores a run to extend this lead. And the Grizzlies now have a good thing going in the bottom of the second. We're putting up 4 in this frame.
This just shows the resilience that the Grizzlies have as kind of this underdog, underrated team, especially considering that, in the regular season, they were second only by a game in the Central Division. The Rough Riders, last year's champions, were 13-8. The Grizzlies were 13-9, and there was nobody who was going to touch CHBR at 18-4. But that one goes back to second base, and he's safe. But even though they were second in the division, they only had 30.5 points. That's only a half point up on the Rough Riders. They were behind Washington Township. They were behind CHP. They were barely up on the other contenders, like the Gartons, like the Phantoms, and they were only a couple points up on the Sewell Wolves, who were 7-14. So when you consider what these guys had and the competition they had to play, the reigning champions and the best record in the league, along with the new club, South Jersey Crew, and the Camden Reds, makes it no easier, for a team like this to contend in such a competitive division. So Grizzlies are trying to make it all work out, and this is going to be a base hit. The hits just keep on coming. Here comes Gorski around to score, and it's a 5 spot for the South Jersey Grizzlies in an improbable turn of events. Teddy Gorski scores on an RBI by Mateo Viola, and it is 5-0 with the home run champion batting in Zach Morales. What an inning for these guys.
Just again, another 2-strike hit there from the Grizzlies. A nice job just to put it in play and find the gap to score a run.
Strike called, and it's 0-1 to Zach Morales. So these guys will have batted around. Next batter would be Cody Brown, who led us off in the inning as he takes a giant hack. Almost lost his shoes there, and the Holy Family product down 0-2.
That was a power fastball and a power swing there, and Rollins just got the better of the hitter.
I think he was trying to send that one back into Center City. 0-2, outside. Rollins still with no strikeouts tonight. All of the outs he has recorded have been balls put in play. A couple flyouts, a couple ground outs, but for a guy that accounts for 52% of CHP strikeouts this year, might see a couple on the horizon. Outside, Wallace has a throw down to second base. He is safe. Close call, and definitely maybe a little bit greedy, but they got it done. And props to them, because they have earned this inning. It started out innocently enough, with a simple error in the infield, but just something is unraveled for these guys, and CHP is going to have to get this back in the third inning. Just missed inside, and it's 3-2. But these guys are loose right now. I haven't really seen that much, chemistry from the Grizzlies this year. These guys are all hanging out in the dugout. They're having fun and trying to win a baseball game. Rollins steps off, and it's 3-2. But a 5-run inning for the South Jersey Grizzlies, with Cody Brown on deck and Morales, who grounded out to short his first time. Swing and a miss. Rollins with strikeout number 105, but definitely some work to do with the bats as they allow 5 runs. Rollins allowing more runs in one inning than he has allowed all season. 4 earned runs in his entire season up to this point, and 4 earned runs in the second inning. We go to the bottom of the second, here from Camden, 5-0 Grizzlies. Welcome back in the top of the third inning here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. This broadcast is brought to you by our good friends over at Harper Driving School, as the first pitch from Danny Robeson is outside John Wallace. Over 95% of students who use Harper Driving School pass their state New Jersey road test on the first try. So if you like those odds, book an appointment today at Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pitman. right off of Lambs Road. And also, this is a small business. I am a 18-year-old rising freshman at RCSJ Gloucester, and I do this as a way to help with my college fund and also to pursue my passion of sports communications and sports broadcasting. If you'd like to contribute any funds to help us with, my college and also with equipment expenses, our Venmo is at DW Broadcasting. No spaces, no hyphens, no funny business, as there's a strikeout to John Wallace, the fourth for Danny Robeson tonight, and there's out number one. But anything is, of course, appreciated, not required, of course, as it is free to watch all of our YouTube live streams. But as somebody who is trying to do this in a grassroots way while servicing all of South Jersey athletics, it is always incredibly appreciated. Strike call to Billy Rice. And it's 0-1. Should be noted that we are also looking for small businesses to be sponsors of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. If you or somebody you know is a small business owner, you can get a commercial filmed on site and run on every DWB broadcast for as little as $250 for a 6-month package. You can send us an email with an inquiry at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. That's also available in the description of this YouTube video. And you can send us an email and we'll send you an advertising flyer with pricing and information. All commercials you see on DWB are filmed, recorded, edited, and produced by me. Again, goes towards my college fund and towards upgrading equipment. 0-2 is the count to Billy Rice, former Phillies minor leaguer and leadoff man for this Kips Bad Guys team in a 5-0 deficit in the top of the third. Here's the 0-2. There's a strike called on the outside corner. Robeson now with 5 Ks, and there's out number 2. So here is Adrian Gonzalez. Again, another Rutgers Camden product. Back when the Scarlet Raptors played at Campbell's Field. I definitely do miss Campbell's Field, being there on the summer nights for like $5 tickets. And, that's the spirit of independent league baseball. The closest thing we have to that now is the York, I think it's the York Pirates and the Lancaster Barnstormers over in eastern Pennsylvania. Or if you want to make a different kind of trip, there's some independent league teams up in North Jersey, like the Sussex County Miners, and also the Long Island Ducks as well. Gonzalez ropes this one towards right field, and it is caught to retire the side. Danny Robeson still red hot with 5 strikeouts through 3 innings. We go to the bottom of the third with CHP still a lot of work on their plate. They trail 5-0. Bottom of the third inning, South Jersey looking to extend on what they started as they scored a 5 spot in the bottom of the second inning. Brought 9 batters to the plate, and we started off with Cody Brown, who ropes this one out towards left field on the first pitch, and it's caught for out number 1.
There's an efficient start for Rollins. 1 pitch, 1 out, and especially with a lot of pitches that previous frame, going to have to look to work the pitch count down to try and keep up with kind of his forte this season, which has been going the distance for all 7.
Which he has done in every single start, even a start that he lost versus CHBR back in mid-June. He threw 6 2/3 innings. That's why his inning total is not clean, because He threw 6 2/3 versus CHBR, but the reason why he didn't finish 7 was because there was a walk-off in the bottom of the 7th, which cut his start short. But that was his only loss of the year. He has 9 appearances, 9 complete games, 4 shutouts, and an 8-1 record. So, this is a sign of adversity for Chris Rollins. And, don't get me wrong, he has a lot of adversity under pressure. And right now, this is kind of where he just has to lock in and, kind of double down. Because, he had a rough inning, but everybody has rough innings. Everybody has rough days. And, how you are perceived as a pitcher is partially gauged by how you do in bad situations. There's strike 3, and Rollins picks up strikeout number 2 on the evening as Cole Ambrosius goes down on strikes as Cooper Root comes up to the plate.
Well, and baseball is the ultimate team sport. He gave up a couple runs, but to try and get back into this game, he's going to need his offense to step up for him and try and chip away at this lead within the next couple innings.
Strike called to Root. Cracked out towards the middle. Gonzalez to his left, and Alvarado on the dime. He got him. Thought he was safe at first, he thought he was safe at first, but we digress. A quick third inning, a lightning fast frame for Chris Rollins. As we're through 3, Grizzlies still lead 5-0. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Top of the 4th inning. South Jersey Grizzlies lead 5-0. It's time for DWB Trivia Time. Today's question of the day is, Wrigley Field, the famous ballpark in Chicago, Illinois, and home of the Cubs, did not host their first night game until what year? A, 1988, B, 2003, C, 1964, or D, 1979. The answer will be revealed in the bottom of the 4th inning. Certainly up there with one of the greatest ballparks of all time. Up there with Fenway, or one of the most historic ballparks of all time. Up there with Fenway, Dodger Stadium. And a base hit in the left by Scott Shaw sets the stage for Rollins here on the top of the 4th. But lightning fast here. 48 minutes into the game, and we are already halfway done. Definitely a change of pace from last night. From Tuesday. I keep saying that. Monday. With CHBR on the Rough Riders. That went 3 hours and 27 minutes. But to be fair, that was also a 10-inning game and not your typical 7-inning affair. But Shaw singling the left. He struck out his first time. Rollins has technically stepped up to the plate 3 times as he ropes this one in the right center field. That one is deep, and that ball is off the base of the wall. Skips once, and going over to third, he gets the sign from Massaro. The throw to the plate is wide. He goes for the tag, doesn't get it, and Scott Shaw scores. Chris Rollins helping his own cause with a 5-1 deficit and an RBI double here in the 4th.
And I mentioned earlier that his teammates were going to have to try and score some runs for him, but Rollins coming out and doing some of the scoring himself. A nice job for the leadoff man to get on, and then Rollins ropes one into the gap and scores him from first base.
Definitely a good start for CHP in their path of, trying to get back into this game, because it is a slippery slope with the outs that you have. If you gave up 5 runs in the first inning, you have the whole darn game to get back into it. But the fourth inning, I mean, you're halfway done already. You know, you've got 12 outs on the board to work with, so it's not easy. It's doable by all means. I've seen crazier comebacks in lesser amounts of time, but it's not easy. And, you know, these guys are resilient ball players, and I definitely think that they can do it, but they're going to have to get through Danny Robeson first. With 5 strikeouts in 3 frames so far, he has had CHP's numbers so far, but he's maybe starting to lose it. Here's a ground ball over the middle. One hop, a slow reaction, and he's safe on the infield single. Austin Lay gets himself a base hit in the infield, and that moves Rollins to third, and that's 3 straight hits for CHP to start off the fourth inning as Montana Millward grabs a bat here for the second time. He is 1 for 1, singled in the second, but did not come around to score. First pitch from Robeson, looks over to first and throws a strike right down the pipe. And it's 0-1. This broadcast is brought to you by Garden State Pet Center. Keep your pet happy and healthy today with the most organic food products available in South Jersey. Visit today at 226 South White Horse Pike in Audubon. No balls, 2 strikes to Montana Millward. Top of the fourth inning, a 5-1 South Jersey Grizzlies lead. Hit out towards right field. Towards the corner, it's caught. Rollins tags. They have a play at the plate. He cuts it off, and Rollins scores. It's 5-2. I don't know if they should have cut that one off there. You could see Robeson was frustrated by the fact that Brown cut it off. It's one of those things where you can speed up the throw if you cut it off, but it's a two-way street. You can speed it up if you cut it off, but I don't know if they would have had that easy of a play at the plate anyway, and it's a matter of a split-second decision. So, you know, that's one of those things where it's 6 one way, half a dozen another, and I don't know if they would have gotten him out there. So a sac fly to right by Millward is out number 1 for Luke Lesh. Scoring the second run of the frame is Rollins, was followed up by Scott Shaw, who singled, came around to score on Rollins' double. Lay still at first, with Luke Lesh also 1 for 1 in the game. And it's 1-1.
And this inning, we're seeing CHP put together real quality at bats and just getting guys on and playing good baseball, moving runners over. That sac fly was textbook, just with 2 strikes. Put it in play deep enough to score them, and a nice job to just try and chip away at this lead in the top of the fourth.
And this is definitely a good sign for CHP. You know, if they can get the life back into their dugout after that 5-run frame, which they seem to have already gotten. You know, these guys are a team that does not give up in any facet of the word. You know, they could be down by 10 and they would still have smiling faces trying to get back into this game, or stone cold faces trying to lock in and get themselves under composure. But, you know, this is a good start for CHP in a path to coming back. Appeal to second, says no. Wow, that was.
You went all the way through for crying out loud.
Wow.
You gotta call that yourself.
Yikes. 3-2.
And the look on Lesh's face, I think he knew that he went around and got away with one there.
That happens sometimes. And a frustrated Grizzlies crowd signs in accord with it, but. Yeah, I mean, that was a very hesitant call at second base because they went for the appeal, and it took them like 5-10 seconds to announce the call, that's ball 4. So Lesh takes a walk. And a quality inning for CHP continues, and it'll go to Alvarado and Wallace, the 8 and 9 hitters. But the story of this inning, 3 straight hits to start. A single RBI double by Rollins. Lay, who advances to second, he singled. A sac fly by Millward, and now a walk to Luke Lesh. So Robeson definitely having an adverse inning, and he's just trying to keep himself under composure. Very frustrated here. And, you know, they have a lead, but Alvarado can take one swing and put all of that away. So, you know, this is one of those things where Gruber has to come out and, you know, kind of set the tone for this team. You know, Brown has had a couple gaffes over at first, but he's been, you know, relatively fine overall. and the rest of this infield is a quality defensive infield. So they've just got to set their things aside, get back going, and continue their pace.
And right now, if you're Alvarado, you don't really have to swing for the fences and try and tie this game, because there's still time if you're CHP to try and rally back in this one, even if he goes down with an out. But I think that what you have to do is just try and keep the inning going. Right now, CHP has put together a quality inning, just like the Grizzlies did, with one hit at a time, one base runner at a time. We're seeing CHP try and do the same thing, and Alvarado just has to keep extending that good inning.
Way high and away. 1-0. It's a dance party here in Camden.
Didn't sound too much like Earth, Wind, and Fire that's happening at
not.
the Freedom Mortgage Pavilion.
Which is what made parking so difficult tonight. That one's also upstairs. Yeah, you can see Robeson's frustrated. You know, he's thrown 2 baseballs way high and away, and his composure is definitely rocked a little bit.
And you took the words right out of my mouth, Dan. The composure is definitely not there right now. Trying to really overthrow on that fastball to try and get outs himself, and it's just not working.
Also high and away. 3-0 with John Wallace on deck of RCSJ Cumberland, home of the Dukes. 3 balls, no strikes. Alvarado could load the bases if he gets on base with a walk here. 3-0. And takes that one above the letters for ball 4, so that's back-to-back free passes surrendered. Lesh to second, Lay to third, Alvarado to first. And Cody Brown just signaled to the dugout they're getting a pitcher and catcher warmed up in the pen. And Robeson's just kind of wiping at his hands a little bit. He's having trouble with the grip. With 1 away, John Wallace, the 9-hitter, is up.
And as a former player, an athlete that is one to get in his own head, this is the worst spot that you can be in, especially if you're a pitcher. The big thing that the pitcher has to remember right now is that he has a defense behind him that can make plays, and he's pitching with a lead. And that's the big thing, is he doesn't have to try and go out and win the game right now. They have a lead. He just needs to pitch the contact and let his guys make the plays behind him.
Also upstairs, 6 straight balls. And I think Wallace right now just doing the best he can to keep the bat on his shoulders, because you kind of want to let this situation play out with the bases loaded as the 9-hitter. If it plays in your favor, great. If it doesn't, then so be it. That's fouled back. It's 2-1 here to Wallace.
And I am shocked that they gave Wallace the green light there, seeing 6 straight balls, as you mentioned, and he's down in the order. Thought for sure the third base coach was going to give him the auto take, but I like that he's being aggressive and trying to keep this inning rolling.
3-1 now. And if it's a bases loaded walk, that brings up Billy Rice, and then you've got a whole different can of worms to deal with. Rice, Gonzalez, and Shaw, you know, they can really eat up on these guys, and they're going to get it. Bases loaded walk, and that's a 5-pitch free pass, 3 straight walks, and it is 5-3 as CHP definitely getting back into the groove of things here in the top of the 4th.
Yo, it's 3 now.
And a couple questionable calls that just haven't gone the Grizzlies' way, and
so a little bit of controversy, but we keep on. First pitch to Rice is away, 1-0. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, frustrating for the Grizzlies, because they had such a great lead and a lot to build off of offensively. But, you know, if you don't get this opportunity that you have in your hands right now squared away, you know, Robeson just needs to take a couple deep breaths and calm down. You know, whether you want to argue balls and strikes or not, you know, it's the name of the game, and you know, it's what happens. So there's just a lot more at stake at the moment for the Grizzlies in the series, basically. You know, look, they lost last night. If they don't win tonight, you know, their wild card run is over. look, they beat the Crew to get to their quarterfinal matchup versus Washington Township, the series that they won versus them 2-0. They were the only sweep in the Tri-County League, and they were the lower-seeded club. So these guys have come a long way, and right now they're just running into a very good ball club and getting themselves in a bad situation, but they were doing so well for so long.
And the Grizzlies just have to remember right now that they're a ground ball away from getting out of this jam, and that they're in a tough spot, but they are one pitch away from getting out of it.
Like this high chopper. They're not going to get anybody out. They didn't tag the bag or anything. That's an infield single, and it's 5-4. If that ball was, that was perfectly placed by Billy Rice, and that's what he does best, those high choppers in the infield that are very difficult to get, because if that was just a little bit deeper at second base, you've at least got a fielder's choice there for out number 2, but they didn't get it.
And that would have been a difficult play there for the second baseman. A nice job to just field it cleanly. And one of those high choppers on turf could really bounce over his head and get into the outfield and potentially do more damage. So better that it's only one run coming across. Unfortunately, you don't get an out, but it saves another run coming across and tying this game.
And definitely with, the fact that both of these teams, their home fields for Runnymede and for Alcyon Park are both grass fields. And even Runnymede kind of being notorious for having some tall grass out there in the outfield, these guys are playing on the field surfaces that they're not used to. This is a little bit of different nature for these guys. They're not always used to playing regularly on turf. So it's an adjustment that everybody in the infield and the outfield have to get used to. Different caroms on bounces. Maybe you've got muscle memory of putting your glove in a certain place, and then when you play here, you kind of have to reset that thinking. You have to reset that line of thought, and that's a difficult adjustment for guys like these to make when they only play here a couple times a year. 1-2 to Gonzalez, bases loaded. As this is the 9th batter of the inning, Shaw is on deck, and he will now bat with 2 outs in the 4th.
That's a big strikeout right there for out number 2 to just kind of get some wind back into the sails for this Grizzly momentum, as right now things have not gone their way at all this inning. From the runs being scored, CHP doing a good job on the offensive end, and then a couple questionable calls that they didn't get to go their way, but a big out number 2, and now 1 out away from getting out of this jam.
Questionable calls or not, the fact that these guys are still leading with the bases loaded, they had 2 bases loaded walks, they had back-to-back stretches of, this inning has just read very poorly. A single, RBI double, another single, sac fly, walk, single, strikeout. Robeson throwing high and inside there, 2-0. I think he's finally getting that groove down. He had a pitcher's count versus Gonzalez, and I think that he's just trying to get this inning squared away cleanly and go back to the dugout, reset the composure, and get back into the game. 3-0. Three balls, no strikes. A bases loaded walk would tie the game. And they'll get it. So CHP has tied it. And a 5-run frame for CHP, which matches the Grizzlies' 5-run frame from the second. And Shaw, with his second at-bat of the inning, drives home Alvarado. As now Nick Gruber coming out, and it looks like Robeson, who was hoping to finish this 4th inning, does not get to finish the job, which is unfortunate because, look, he was doing so well, had 5 strikeouts through his first 3 frames. And a very frustrated Danny Robeson there.
Oh, give me a break, man.
They just gave a warning to the Grizzlies dugout.
Oh, am I really? Go back to 10U baseball, because that's where you belong, asshole. You are terrible. You shouldn't be up in Little League games. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
We apologize for that language.
It's not, you're terrible.
So, can't say I've seen a fan ejection in a long time. I mean, I've heard some things at the high school level, and I had a feeling that would be happening. Again, we apologize for the foul language. Obviously not a part of what we try to do, but Grizzlies are bringing in another lefty here, as we'll have a DWB pitching change, 3 2/3 for a very frustrated Danny Robeson, as CHP has tied the game at 5-5 in the top of the fourth. We'll be right back. All right, Chris Rollins bats here in the top of the fourth inning with 2 outs. And an unusual scene here from Camden, as 2 5-run innings by each team have sent this game right back to square one. Can't even get the words right. 0-1 as the new lefty in for the Grizzlies. And yeah, I would imagine probably a Rutgers-Camden game this past spring was the last time I saw a fan get thrown out. Count is 1-1. I mean, I've seen players get thrown out before. That happened to Jake Siebert of Gloucester this spring after a strikeout call. But yeah, I mean, look, this is a very different 5-run inning for CHP. Look, they as you said during the break, when the Grizzlies got their 5, they had singles, doubles, singles. They were hitting the ball around, but 3 of CHP's 5 runs have come on bases loaded walks. And that's not, that's a much more deflating 5-run inning than if you're just smacking the ball left, right, up, and down. So, they still amount to the same, but the feeling that is associated with them is certainly very different. 3-1, and that is another bases loaded walk. That is the 4th. And it is now 6-5 as CHP has put up a monstrous inning, a half dozen, and Austin Lay bats again after singling in his first at-bat of the inning.
Well, and Dan, as we talked about in the break, I mean, the walks are absolutely killer because you're not even giving your defense a chance to make a play. You're just giving free passes and then allowing for CHP to just kind of walk freely around the bases. There's not much that can be done if you're not filling up the strike zone, and that's been the biggest problem for the Grizzlies. And now with some of the fans getting into it and the starting pitcher playing the blame game with the umpire, it just makes that strike zone even smaller for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, and I think that was a situation where it was just he was getting taken out of the game. He wasn't going to bat, just wanted to get his money's worth. And a dugout or a bench warning was issued to the Grizzlies because of that while we were on the air, and then that fan got ejected. So they've been getting hit with the book in the last couple of minutes, which, it's something that you never want to see. But sometimes you have to put your foot down, and as an umpire, you are, the officer of the game. You are the enforcer of the rules, and, I've seen umpires, especially at the high school level, that take way too much. And, they let so much fly where, look, this is a game where everybody's got to stay respectful. This is a summer league. This is a competitive league. But at the same time, nobody's winning $1 million from winning this game today. So, I'm glad that he is playing it by the letter of the law, even if the balls and strikes are a little different. That's a base hit in the center field. That's going to be run number 7 and run number 8. Shaw's got to throw at third, and he didn't get him. A 2-run double, Austin Lay, and it's 8-5. As Lay, with his second hit of the inning, and they have put up yet more runs. Oh my goodness. Rice and Shaw both come in to score. Billy Cavender, formerly of Pitman, now of Salem Community College, as this one is hit to straightaway right and caught. But the damage is done and then some. An 8-run inning for the Cherry Hill Pitman Club, and as soon as South Jersey was up, they are now down again. We're going to the bottom of the fourth after a unbelievable 31-minute fourth inning. We'll be right back. In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking on a huge step of their young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
Bottom of the fourth inning, CHP turns it around with an 8-run top of the fourth inning. And viewers at home, you've had about a half hour to think about your trivia time question and think about your answer. Today's trivia time question is, Wrigley Field, one of the most famous ballparks in the United States, did not have lights or night games until which year? A, 1988, B, 2003, C, 1964, or D, 1979? Producer Jake Clark, you got a guess?
I'm going to guess 79. I feel like the 64, there would have been no way that would have happened with the lights and the technology at the time. But I think 79 is just around the time frame that things were starting to get more technologically advanced.
Well, you would be incorrect, because it is A, 1988 was the first time. And you'd be surprised, because you were talking about, technological things, but you've got to remember the Polo Grounds in New York hosted their first night game with lights that came from generators in 1939 before the war. So lights at baseball fields, that's why, that one hit him right in the left shoulder. And Templeton will get on base. That brings up Nigro of Widener. Again, not intentional, but just a rough situation there. Templeton, who had a 2-run double in the second, now gets plunked. But the thing is that the reason why that trivia time question is almost jarring is because basically every major league ballpark had lights by 1975, 1980. So the fact that Wrigley didn't have it for so long, it was kind of a traditional thing. Oh, we only host day games, that kind of thing. It was the pastime of the fact that Wrigley was built in the middle of the city in Chicago, with Addison Avenue and stuff like that. That was a part of the tradition. As there's strike 3 to Nigro, strikeout number 3 for Rollins, and there's out number 1. But anyways, it was just that they were behind on the years, and that's why a trivia question like that, especially to some of our maybe Gen X or millennial viewers, might be a little more relatable.
And you can see now, especially after that strikeout, the Grizzlies' frustration is growing rapidly, and they're going to have to try and get their heads screwed back on straight to try and come back in this game against the firepower arm like Rollins.
Especially considering that they were in a similar situation last night. They were down a lot, and then they tried to come back, and they got within 2 runs. Final score was 9-7. So, it was not easy, as that's a slider that misses. And it's 2-0 just off the inside corner. But this is not easy for the Grizzlies to swallow. If you are in a 3-game series and you lose 10-0 both nights, there's not really much to complain about because you lost by a lot, you didn't play your best baseball, and you were outmatched. But this is a situation where they are not outmatched. They are punching up, and they're hitting a couple times. As there's a strike, 3-1, gets the green light there. But look, the Grizzlies, they are a formidable team in this Final Four. They are the lowest seed of they're the second lowest seed of the Final Four because the Rough Riders are 1/2 point below them. He throws over to second base, and he's safe. He dropped the ball at second. Had a problem with it, and I think he was trying to bait Rollins into balking, but he got the intended result anyway.
High risk, high reward there from the base runner. Stole early and, like you said, probably was trying to bait for a balk and got lucky that the ball was dropped at second base or else he was dead to rights.
And we would have been talking about that as why did you do that? Why did he hit this ball deep out to left field, going back at the wall? It's caught. Out number 2.
Where's the BB core when you need one?
So Mararchi gives one a ride, to say the least, as that one goes out to the fence in left. As Teddy Gorski, the lefty, comes up. He's got an RBI single and a flyout, 1 for 2 on the campaign tonight. 8:17 p.m., just an hour 15 into this one in the bottom of the 4th inning. You're watching coverage of the Tri-County Baseball League semifinals on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. 2 away as the lineup flips over. Gets a piece of it, 0-1. Definitely got a good ride by Mararchi into that. Somebody who is a power hitter out of Cherry Hill West, had a couple of homers there for the Group 3 state finalists and the Diamond Classic champions who beat Gloucester Catholic in this year's contest.
And Dan, I think that is my least favorite part about baseball because the hitter there did everything right, barreled that ball up, and just hit it right at the left fielder. And sometimes you got to remind yourself that even though you did everything right, baseball is a very humbling game, and unfortunately has to take a seat after a perfect swing just right at somebody.
And that's the kind of thing Mararchi does. That home run or that hit might have been a homer at Cherry Hill West at Tom Trotman Field. At a handful of other Olympic Conference ballparks, maybe that has a chance to be a home run, but that's a foul ball off the netting. And it's 0-2. Rollins with 3 strikeouts in an 8-5 game, but still holding on to it. Oh, 2. He went. Wallace throws. Now Alvarado's got it. It's in time. Scoreless frame, but a hit by pitch advances Ricky Templeton to second base. We're through 4, and it's 8-5 in favor of the visiting Cherry Hill Pitman Club. First pitch of the fifth misses inside. CHP coming off of a wild 8-run frame in the fourth. Lesh swings and misses, and it's 0-2.
And that fourth inning, man, I wish I had some popcorn with me because I was ready, kicked back here in my chair to watch all the theatrics that happened on and off the field with an ejection, too.
This one's tapped out towards Brown. Throw to first. Oh, he stretches himself, and he got him! Wow. I think he either barely got on there or he might have missed it. I'm not sure. Lesh is not happy. I'll have to look at that one over. That was tough to call. I couldn't see too well through the netting.
And watching that in real time, I might have to take CHP's side, but for the Grizzlies, you got to be happy. A couple calls didn't go your way in that fourth inning, and now you get a bang-bang play that goes your way in the fifth.
And that's the best thing they could ask for in this situation is some relief. You know, even if that call isn't exactly what CHP wanted, you know, certainly there's been I don't know what the right word is, but there's certainly been interesting decisions on both sides. Whether they're right or wrong is up to the viewer. But yeah, we'll definitely have to look at that replay at the end of the inning, seeing if his foot touched the bag in time. Yeah, so we are going to have to find a replacement pen, as this is the third DWB pen casualty of the season. Just snapped in half. I didn't think it could do that, but it did. Alvarado steps out.
And you just got to be lucky, Dan, that it's not something that costs a ton of money, like the camera, the computer, or any of the wires that you got going on here to run this wonderful broadcast. It's just the pen to keep the book.
Exactly. So we will have to figure that out. Strike is called 3-1. So Lesh, who reached base twice tonight on a single and a walk, now grounds out to first on what's going to be scored as a 3-1. By the way, the new pitcher for the South Jersey Grizzlies tonight is number 1, Dante Viola. On a high chopper to short. Throw to first is in time, and Alvarado's retired for out number 2.
And that's just a great play by the shortstop. Deep in the hole, makes a tough throw to get Alvarado out by a step. Good throw there from the shortstop and a good play with now 2 outs in the inning. The Grizzlies are trying to get themselves back on track.
And definitely this is the start that you need for that. I mean, a 3-run deficit is not easy to come back from, but it certainly would have been a heck of a lot better if you were up by 5. So, you know, these guys have been... This has been a roller coaster game. These guys have been at the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Dante Viola, the lefty out of Misericordia, the Division III national champions from this past season. This one's tapped over to middle. Viola reaches for it, doesn't get it. Gorski on an offhand throw, not in time. First baseman Brown does the splits. I think the U.S. needs a couple of those in Paris, and that's going to be a 2-out knock for John Wallace. But Viola, the lefty out of Misericordia, with a 1.38 ERA, a .218 batting average against, 9 appearances, and 20 1/3 innings with 30 strikeouts and 10 walks, 1 save for the Grizzlies this season. As Wallace singles, he is now 1 for 2. And this brings up Billy Rice, who is 2 for 3 with an RBI tonight. First pitch from Viola is outside, 1-0.
And a fantastic job from the 9-hitter to just turn over the lineup. And now CHP with 2 outs, but a runner on, looking to do some damage and extending that lead.
Throw over, not in time. Gonzalez on deck with a 1-0 count. Viola kicks and deals. Gets a swing and a miss, and contact was made, so it's a foul tip. 1-1. So we'll have to see what the results are of CHBR and the Rough Riders. I'm honestly not even sure if they're playing tonight. I checked, but didn't see anything of it. So Yes, they are playing tonight. So they've got him caught up, and the throw goes into left field. That's going to send Wallace to third. They've got to have the man cover, and he gets in there. So John Wallace dives in safely and is a little slow to get up. Maybe got some sort of turf burn, I'm not sure, but he advances to third on what's going to be an E3. So we don't have an update yet on CHBR and the Rough Riders. That is a series that CHBR leads 1-0 after a walk-off single by Immaculata's Nick Turnage in the 10th inning on Monday. Zach Frias is the starter. That one gets away, and it hits him. So Rice with a free pass. On the hit by pitch, and now Coach Gruber coming out with an arm in the bullpen for the Grizzlies as Gonzalez grabs a bat here. We'll see if they call to the pen or not.
And then that 2-out single from Wallace is now even more important as he advanced to third on a throwing error, and then a hit by pitch now has runners on the corners for Gonzalez, and CHP is looking to extend to their 3-run lead with a couple more in the top of the 5th.
Not to mention Gonzalez is 0 for 3 tonight. He has a flyout or 2 flyouts to right and a strikeout. So he is the only batter on CHP to not reach base. Billy Rice is 2 for 3. Shaw has a single and a walk. Rollins has been on base twice tonight with a double and a walk. Lay has his single. Millward has the single and sac fly. Lesh has a walk and a single. Alvarado has a walk, and Wallace has a walk and now a single as well. So, Gonzalez is kind of having FOMO right now. He's the only guy in the party not to collect not a hit, but at least an on-base appearance. So he can do that right here with an RBI, extend the lead for CHP. That one's outside, 1-0. 8-5 in the top of the 5th. This game started innocently enough, no score after 1, and then South Jersey Grizzlies basically put all their eggs in one basket, scored 5 runs in the second, brought 9 men to the plate, and then there was nothing until the top of the 4th when CHP put up an 8-run frame in which they sent 12 batters to the plate, an unbelievable feat, and I don't think I've seen an inning that big since we were here with CHBR and Sewell last week, where they put up a 9-run inning en route to their 13-4 win over the Sewell Wolves to knock them out of the playoffs. So, that game was moved to Camden last Thursday because of rain in the area. The game was originally at the Grass Folk Field in Cherry Hill, their Babe Ruth field, next to the Cherry Hill Township Municipal Building. Count is 3-0 to Gonzalez. If he loads the bases here, you've got Shaw, who's got a single and a walk tonight. One for 2, excuse me. Green light, strike call. Viola is set with Shaw on deck. 3-1 is roped out towards center field. Taking a couple steps back, he doesn't see it, and he makes the catch. A very late reaction, and he makes the catch out in center field. Very lucky. That could have been a lot worse if he didn't bring that ball down. CHP leaves 2 runners on, and the Grizzlies looking to get back on track. It's 8-5 going to the bottom of the 5th.
Tommy D's Home Design Center has opened a second location on Creek Road in Belmar, operating in Philadelphia for over 25 years and now expanding into South Jersey. Tommy D's is the road and Harding Avenue in Belmar next to the 42 on-ramp.
Bottom of the fifth inning, first pitch is a strike. He definitely came into this inning thinking, how far will Chris Rollins go in this game? And certainly now that that's a grounder to third and foul. Oh. Let's fix that. Trying to fix the blur on our camera. We apologize. That one's outside from Wallace. But, we were thinking, can Rollins last this long with, the fact that they're down 5, but now those tables have completely been turned. And he got him. One away. This brings up Morales.
And Dan, we talk a lot about that power fastball from Rollins where he really blows it by hitters, but he's got some good off speed, and you see it there, the slider for the strikeout.
So bottom of the fifth, CHP left 2 runners on in the top half of the fifth. Three balls, no strikes to Morales. And that is a green light for strike one. Three balls, one strike to Morales, the home run champion of the regular season with 4. And a fly ball out to center field. Rice doesn't see it, going back pedals at the fence, and makes the catch for out number 2. There's been a couple of issues with both Grizzlies and CHP fellas not being able to see the ball out there. So definitely an interesting development, and there's 2 outs here.
And when the sun goes down and then you get the artificial light from the lights around the field, it's definitely an adjustment for the eyes for the outfielders with the ball going up in the sky, a different type of tracking the ball, and a nice job by the center fielder. Didn't see it at first, but stuck with it enough to get the put out.
And that's what happened with the Grizzlies in the end of the 5th. He's backpedaling and he doesn't know where it is, but eventually gets it fixed. High chopper to Gonzalez. Throw across the diamond is in time, and the inning is over. Grizzlies running out of outs. They've got 6 to go, and it's 8-5 after 5 in Camden. Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
All right, top of the sixth, and as we said going to break, Grizzlies are running out of outs. They've got 6 remaining at their disposal and 3 runs to score as Viola still working out there here in the top of the sixth as CHP getting us started here from Camden Athletic Complex. 8:37 is the time here. Breaking ball misses, 1-0, just at the letters. Swing and a miss, so 2. So 3, 4, and 5 for CHP. Shaw, who is 1 for 2, strikeout, walk, and a single tonight. Rollins and Lay. 3, 4, and 5 for CHP versus Viola in his second inning of work as he chops this one off of his foot and foul. He'll feel that one in the morning. But I'm glad that this game has kind of cooled down a little bit because there were some, feisty and intense moments in that fourth inning. So now that we're, kind of past it, these guys can just focus on playing baseball on the field instead of worrying about anything off the field. So I'm glad that this game has kind of mellowed out a little bit. Beautiful breaking ball there from Viola for his first strikeout in relief, and that's out number 1 to Shaw.
And they tell you to look for the breaking ball. They always say it's see the spinner up, but it was a slider that time that caught the batter off guard. So a nice job there by the pitcher to go upstairs with that slider, which is not a typical location for the punch out.
And I don't even know if he wanted it to go upstairs. That might be an unintended consequence of it, where he just tried to put it where it lies, and it ended up not exactly landing there. But swing and a miss by Rollins, 0-2. Rollins, in addition to 5 strikeouts on the hill, also has a 1 for 2 resume, a walk, RBI double, and a strikeout to his campaign tonight with the lefty Austin Lay at the dish, or on the on-deck circle. 1-2. If the CHBR and Rough Riders series goes to a third game, it would probably be tomorrow night, and we would expectedly cover it, as there's a swing and a miss. Out number 2, as Viola gets another strikeout in front of a pumped Grizzlies crowd. I mean, they've definitely got some life back into them, and if they can use those rally cries to get the Grizzlies back on feet, look, excuse me, they scored 5 runs in the second inning. It's definitely not impossible to do it again.
Yeah, I was going to say pumped is a bit of an understatement, as those fans who have been quiet for quite some time really came to life. And that
strikeouts, though, for Viola. 0-2. Misses inside. Oh, it hit him. Grazed him. Looks like it grazed him. And here is Millward. Here's the first pitch. Millward cracks it foul. This broadcast, excuse me, is brought to you by Tommy D's Home Improvement. Make your dream kitchen come true today with wholesale kitchen cabinets and countertops at heavily discounted rates. Visit today at 612 Creek Road in Belmar, next to the 42 on-ramp. Here's the 0-1. So 2 strikeouts and a hit by pitch. Now a sliding stop at second base. What a play! Got him. So a flawless frame for the Grizzlies, and that's exactly what they needed to get back into this game. They trail 8-5 going to the bottom of the 6th and don't have that many opportunities left, and the crowd is trying to ride on these coattails and get right back into this game. We'll be right back.
Tommy D's Home Design Center has opened a second location on Creek Road in Belmar, operating in Philadelphia for over 25 years and now expanding into South Jersey. Tommy D's is the place to go for kitchen cabinets, countertops, and cabinet accessories, heavily discounted compared to big box retailers. Stop in, take a seat, and watch as our experienced kitchen designer makes the kitchen of your dreams right in front of you. Tommy D's is the best in the business for quality kitchen countertops and cabinets that fit all budgets. Call us today at 856-210-9504 or visit the new location in person on the corner of Creek Road and Harding Avenue in Belmar next to the 42 on-ramp.
fix the kilobytes are low. It's just stabilizing right now. I don't know why. Problem every time I go here. All right. Sorry, folks, just had a quick connection issue there. That was a base hit to start the bottom of the 6th for the Grizzlies off of Chris Rollins. Oh, he broke his bat. It goes out to second base. Shards of it are in the infield. Alvarado with a big hit at first base. And he goes tumbling out, and there's one away. Alvarado was checking on him to make sure he was okay, but kind of a chaotic play from start to finish for route number 1.
And lost a little bit of everything there as he lost a piece of the bat as it broke on contact, and then as he was running down the first base line, lost his leg guard on the way down.
I didn't even notice that.
So, and then took a little bit of a hit from Alvarado, but thankfully he's all right, and for CHP, that's the first out of the inning.
Well, a hit like that from Alvarado should remind you we are 29 days away from DWB football season, as opening day on August 29th between the Palmyra Panthers and the Riverside Rams as a part of a 2-game set on opening weekend on Friday, August 30th. Tune in between the Collingswood Panthers and the Clayton Clippers in South Jersey Group 1 football both nights. Should be a fun opener for a small school start to the 2024 football season. You can check out our full 21-game regular season slate of the football schedule on our Twitter and Instagram at DW Broadcasting. So Ambrosius got a single to start the 6th. Cooper Root grounded out 4-3. And that did advance Ambrosius to second on the broken back grounder. And here is Ricky Templeton now. 1-1 count with 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. CHP leads the Grizzlies 8-5 in what has been a high-scoring series. 9-7 was the final score of Game 1, and now these guys are only 1 step behind them. So certainly a game where both teams are giving it their all, and the pitchers just don't seem to have the same grip. You know, we've seen a couple 1-0, maybe 2-1 games for us covering Tri-County, and you don't see a lot of games where the offenses are just this overpowered on both sides of the ball. Like, we've never seen a game that's like 11-10 or 13-12. We don't see that much in Tri-County. You see a lot of games where one team scores 15 and the other scores 5, but it's not a lot where you see games like 8-5 or 9-7 or something like that, where it's high scoring on both sides of the ball. And look, the Grizzlies have dipped into their bullpen a little bit, but CHP's holding steady. It doesn't matter if you've given up 5 runs or 10. As long as Chris Rollins is the manager of this team, I don't think they're going to the bullpen for a long time. I mean, hey, 9 starts, 9 complete games. He just doesn't leave. And that's both his specialty and his weakness. I mean, when you're 8-1, though, and you're leading in every pitching category imaginable, is that really something that, you know, is that bad to be proud of? I don't think so. I think it's great that Rollins does what he does. And the fact that he has over half of the entire team's strikeouts, phenomenal. 2 away. Here is Nick Nigro of Widener. That one is down 1-0. Nigro 0 for 2. Fly out and a strikeout tonight. Swing and a miss, 1-1. But CHP, they have been grooving tonight ever since that 8-run inning. They have been in Boogie Wonderland with that 8-run frame, and now Rollins back into his groove as the 1-1. 1-2. As we said, about 82 degrees here on this, well, it's not Saturday in the park, but it is Wednesday in the park. And it certainly does not feel like the 4th of July, except for maybe with the bats. It's been a lot of fireworks tonight. 1-2 from Rollins. Fly ball foul, 1-2.
And that's the thing. Rollins has done such a great job with mixing his pitches. He hasn't really relied on the fastball or the slider as much. Done a good job of mixing both, and we've seen in this at-bat specifically a great job of he's speeding the hitter up with the fastball and then really slowing him down with that slider. A change of speeds is really throwing the batter through a loop here.
1-2. Runner goes. Wallace. Ooh, that might be a contentious play, but no interference is going to be called because, I don't know, that was close, but they'll allow it to stand. Yeah, Nigro's just, I stayed in the box. Obviously defending his case, but no harm, no foul because there was no interference called. So that brings Cole Ambrosius to third. Count is 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Rollins looking to keep on his strong pace here in the bottom of the 6th inning and trying to deny the Grizzlies any chance of making a formidable comeback here in Game 2 and looking to clinch a Carter Cup appearance. Gets a piece of that one and sends it back on a return to sender. It's still 2-2. High chopper over the middle. That's over the head of Rollins. Gonzalez barehanded, and he got him. Adrian Gonzalez with a bare hand, bare knuckle play. He's feeling stronger every day, and he gets a ground ball out to end the 6th and leave CHP in control of this one. It's 8-5 after 6. They are 1 inning away from another Carter Cup appearance. Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
I gotta fix the sound.
That's fine. No, because the snowball's still on. We're fine. We're fine. Not sure what's going on here on the hill, but the new pitcher for the Grizzlies, after he threw out his warm-up pitch, there was something going on out there. Somebody get taken out, or yeah, Viola. I think Viola got taken out. Might have hurt himself. You can see he's a little tense, which I mean he threw out the warm-up pitches, and now we're resetting again. We were just about to go back, so they have made a pitching change in the middle of the break. Viola is out. Now it's number 50, Tyler Histing of PVI, and now of RCSJ Cumberland. He will get on the mound here. So yeah, I mean he was being attended to by Nick Gruber, the head coach, when we came back on the air. Like we were about to start the inning, and not sure what happened there, but so Histing is the new pitcher, and Gruber just signaled to a fan maybe something with the lower back. So he was taken out with some sort of injury, and obviously in a situation like this, you don't know if you're going to play a third game. Your season could be over in the next 15 minutes. So Histing with a 2.10 ERA in 16 2/3 innings, 13 walks, 15 strikeouts, a 180 batting average against, and a 144 whip in 8 appearances this year.
And it looked as though the former pitcher who ended up getting hurt, Viola, he slipped on one of the warm-up pitches, and what it looked like was the manager had come out and tried to offer a change of shoes, and that wasn't doing it. He said, "Coach, I'm hurt," and so then Viola got taken out due to injury for Histing.
Well, that happened one time, not necessarily the injury part, but we had a situation when we did a game here. We did a high school showcase that you played in the Sterling versus Gloucester game, where there was a pitcher for Sterling that in the middle of an at-bat changed his shoes in the middle of the at-bat. He was so with this being a turf field, there's a rule against metal cleats. You can't wear metal cleats on the field. You can't have sunflower seeds on the field, although I see many of them on the ground, which is unfortunate, but that one's inside. And Histing obviously needing a little extra time to get his warm-up pitches. But I want to say it was the coach's kid, Casey Kazanowski, because I think he started that game, but he was wearing like tennis shoes for most of the for most of the start, and then in the middle of the at-bat, Gloucester was up like 4-1. He changed his shoes in the middle of the at-bat. Head coach Casey Kazanowski came out and took care of it.
You know what I think it was? Casey did get the start. That is correct. But
that was April 5th.
Yes, and that was our first game of the year because I think that our original opener had gotten rained out,
yeah,
so we opened up here.
Was terrible with the rain.
We opened up here against Gloucester, and we ended up making a switch to the bullpen, and I believe it was Dean Collins who needed his shoes changed in the middle of the inning. Dean was wearing, again, turf shoes, and then had to switch into the metal spikes to try and get more traction out on the mound, and it didn't end up working out for us on that day as we ended up dropping that one to Gloucester. But yes, I do remember that, and that was a fun game to be a part of out on the field.
Yeah, and I actually got an email after I posted the clip on Instagram Reels, and I got an email from the baseball head coach, Tad Kazanowski, explaining the whole situation, and I thought it was so funny how in detail he went about why they changed shoes, what they changed to. That's why he's one of the best in South Jersey. He leaves no stone left unturned. Ball called to Lesh. Bottom three of the order for CHP in the top of the 7th. Lesh, Alvarado, and Wallace. Like we said, a warning was given to the Grizzlies way back in the 4th, a bench warning. Now, I should say I'm not sure if it was a bench warning or whether it was a warning specifically to the starting pitcher, Danny Robeson, because if it was a bench warning, that's a different story, but if it was just a warning to the starting pitcher, then that's a different can of worms. But definitely trying to keep this at-bat alive with a 3-2 to Lesh. Alvarado on deck. Inside, ball 4. And Lesh reaches base for the 3rd time tonight with a single, a walk, and another walk. So he gets 2 free passes tonight as Alvarado grabs the bat. Like we said, stay tuned on our Twitter page and our Instagram pages at DW Broadcasting for more information on our next broadcast. Also, for live score updates on the CHBR Rough Riders game, follow the Tri-County Baseball Twitter account at Tri-County Online on Twitter and on Instagram. So when we get updates about it, we'll let you all know. And then when it ends up coming time, if CHBR wins and we don't have a Game 3, then I'm off until next week. Runner goes. Here goes the throw from home, and it's not in time. Lesh steals second. But if it ends up being a Game 3, would most likely be tomorrow or Friday, dipping into the month of August. and then we would see what happens. But it would be very interesting to see a Cherry Hill versus Cherry Hill Carter Cup, considering last year was CHP, the Cherry Hill Pitman Club, and the Rough Riders, the eventual champions, winning 2-0 in that series in the best of 3. As here's the 2-0. Lesh once again stepping off of second. Alvarado takes low. That one's trapped in the turf, and it's 3-0. Lesh scored once on that walk. He was a part of those 4 bases-loaded walks that made up a good portion of those 8 runs scored by CHP in that monumental 4th inning. But what a night it would be to see all 13 combined runs scored in just 2 half innings. Bottom of the 2nd had 5 for the Grizzlies, and the top of the 4th had 8 for CHP. Nothing else. All zeros up and down the board. It's unbelievable what we've seen tonight. Here's the 3-1. Oh, here he goes. They wanted a balk called, and he got a strike called. Wow, CHP thought it was a balk at first, and I certainly thought it might have swung that way. But, yeah, that's out number no, wait, hold on. No, they did call a balk because Alvarado's back in the box. What happened there?
So Lesh, it looked like Lesh took off from second early, stole the bag, and then what happened was, because the count was 3-1, the strike call filled up the count at 3-2, so now Alvarado gets issued the walk. But that, yes, Dan, that was a very confusing sequence of events.
And here comes Nick Gruber out to talk to Tyler Histing. Again, formerly of PVI, committed to RCSJ Cumberland, home of the Dukes. And we only covered them twice this past season in the doubleheader versus Camden County, a game that from the time we showed up at 11 a.m. and from the time it ended at 5 p.m. was constant rain. There was only one delay in that entire game, and it was a lightning delay before game 1. And it got pretty bad, but then it held up, and Histing was not on the team at the time. He is a incoming freshman, but yeah, what a game this has been, though. Even if the Grizzlies don't pull this one out, they have had a great run. The fact that they were second in the Central Division by the skin of their teeth, they could have very well been the 3rd team in the Central behind CHBR and the Rough Riders. So the fact that they're here right now, holding their own in the semifinal, their first franchise history semifinal, and they're bringing in Alvarado. So I guess they're going to bring in a pinch runner for the veteran. Is it going to be Rice? Well, Rice has a helmet on, but he can't because he's about to hit. Who's going to pinch run for him? So Alvarado walks, and now they've got Gloucester assistant coach and big bearded fella, Stephen Massaro, class of 2020 out of TCNJ. And now third base coach for the South Jersey Group 1 champion Gloucester Lions. So Histing facing off against another RCSJ Cumberland product. This is kind of best of both worlds here versus John Wallace. As first pitch, 2 runners on, nobody out. High bunt and fouled. So a walk and another free pass have been the 2 at-bats this inning.
And again, I like the aggressiveness from CHP there to try and bunt Wallace with 2 runners on. You might knock in a run, and with nobody out, the 9-hitter, who's got some wheels to try and get on, meaning maybe knocks in a run or everybody's safe and you load the bases for the top of the order.
Oh, 1. That one just misses upstairs. One ball, 1 strike. Runners on the corners here with room for more. All infielders on the edge of the infield dirt. Hit out towards right center field. This one's got some distance to it in straightaway right field. Here comes Lesh to tag, and he scores. 9-5. So CHP with 18 runs across their 2 games in the semifinal, and now they are 4 runs up with 3 outs until their next Carter Cup appearance. one skips off of his glove. He doesn't know where it is. It's behind him, and everybody moves up on the pass ball. Massaro to second. So in 2023, it was Rough Riders and CHP. 2022 was Gartons and Washington Township. 2021 was the Rough Riders and Cherry Hill. 2019 was a Cherry Hill victory. 2018 also was Gartons over Rough Riders. So they have had 3 appearances in the last 5 years, 2019, 2021, and 2023. 2017 was also the same with Gartons and Rough Riders back-to-back. Their last appearance before 2019, as that one is roped out towards center field by Rice. He's going to have his 3rd hit of the night. That drops down. Massaro's going to come around and score for double digits, and it's 10-5. As CHP getting some much-needed insurance, as their offense has been rather stagnant since the 4th. That brings home Massaro. And excuse me, that is Rice's 4th hit of the night, 4 for 5, with 2 RBIs. So before 2019, Cherry Hill's last appearance was 2013 when they won the Carter Cup Championship over Camden. They won also in 2011. Also have championships in 1991, 1979, 1963, and that is the last recorded stuff we have from there. And when it comes to regular season champions, they were not the regular season champs this year. CHBR had that title, their first in league history. But Cherry Hill was regular season champs in 2012, along with 2010, and just those 2 years. So we'll see what happens, but they are up 5 with 3 outs remaining until they might be able to get this thing settled and done for a Carter Cup appearance in their 33rd annual Carter Cup. Pitching change for the Grizzlies. As we dug into that one quite a bit, we will be right back here in the top of the 7th. Well, the dirt bikes might be CHP fans because they're getting louder and louder with every at-bat. New pitcher for the Grizzlies, as that he will take over for Tyler Histing of PVI here in the top of the 7th. 10-5. First pitch is a ball to Adrian Gonzalez, who, like we said, he has been missing out on the party. He is 0 for 4, the only CHP batter to not get on base tonight. Looks like that's number 37, Evan Brassberger of Gloucester Catholic. Seen him pitch a couple times for the Rams at the, I wouldn't say picturesque, but a very nice Joe Barth Field. Brassberger, the right-hander here for the Grizzlies this year, with a ground ball off the glove of the third baseman, goes to the shortstop, and it will be an infield single for Adrian Gonzalez. So the streak is broken and the curse is lifted. He's now 1 for 5 with a base hit, finally breaking that streak. Brassberger this campaign in the year 2024, getting himself some good numbers, although that's the wrong player I just clicked on. For Brassberger, 5.43 ERA, 19 and a third innings pitched, 18 strikeouts, 14 walks. and a .333 batting average against, a 2.22 whip. Scott Shaw takes a strike. 3 hits this frame, a double by Wallace and back-to-back singles by Gonzalez and Rice, as here is Shaw down in the count 0-1, one away in the top of the 7th. 2-run frame for CHP. And it's 1-1. Two balls, one strike. Just waiting on an update on that CHBR Rough Riders game, because obviously that would determine how long these guys have. It doesn't really determine how long they have to wait, but definitely they want to know sooner rather than later who their opponent will be. Brassberger gets a called strike. Ball pops out of the catcher's glove. And we do have a final. Rough Riders win 2-1 and force a Game 3 over or force a Game 3 against CHBR. So I imagine that I'll have work tomorrow. And then we'll take the weekend off and go back for the big guns on Monday. So that game must have just went final a couple of minutes ago, because we didn't see any updates on their Twitter page. Shaw strikes out for out number 2. He is 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts at the plate tonight. 1 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, and 1 in the 1st. Here's Chris Rollins. He's helped his own cause a couple times tonight. Handful of RBIs, and he's going to snake off the mound. He's got him caught up, and a pickle on the throw goes into right field. He threw the ball away, and now here comes Rice. He will score. Now they've got Gonzalez caught up. He races back to second, and they get a free run on an error by Brassberger. It's 11-5.
And they had him out by a mile, but a throwing error there. Just out into right field is a killer, and as a team that is trying to, minimize the damage, that's one thing that could have gotten you out of the inning and back into the dugout to try and, come back into this game, but a killer there, and that just adds one more run they got to earn back.
Exactly. Brassberger delivers a swing and a miss to the veteran Rollins. 1-1. I mean, if you're a high school pitcher who can force swing and misses against former professionals like Chris Rollins, I mean, Brassberger is an incredibly impressive prospect for GC, especially with how many seniors they have this year. I expect him to be, especially for Dennis Barth, the way he utilizes his pitchers as a legendary head coach. I imagine he'll be getting a lot of leverage and a lot of mileage for GC next year, especially the 21-time state champions out of Brooklawn. And hopefully we'll be covering some more games for them next year. Very excited about our work with the GC program and GC athletics. As a ground ball out towards second base, picked up at the chest, throw to first, and he retires Rollins to retire the side. 3 runs allowed, and South Jersey needs an 11th hour miracle, and maybe a little more than that, to get back into this game. They trail by 6, but hey, they've scored runs in bunches before. They just need a spark. We go to the bottom of the 7th, 11-5. CHP is 3 outs away from their 3rd Carter Cup appearance in 4 years. We'll be right back. Bottom of the 7th as CHP adds on some well-needed insurance runs. Really hope we get a sponsorship from an insurance company soon. That would be some of the corniest gimmicks that I could ever put on a microphone. Swing and a miss. It's an 0-1 count to Nick Mararchi as it's 9-1-2. Teddy Gorski and Mateo Viola are the 9-1-2 hitters in the 7th as that one's outside. Running up on just past a 2-hour game time tonight. Started at 7:02 at 2 hours 12 minutes at the moment. Definitely a sigh of relief after that 3.5-hour affair on Monday, as that'll be outside 2-1.
And while it might not feel as long as the 3.5 hour, with all of the theatrics and extra drama that has made it feel like it should be on late night television, this game has felt like it should be stretched out for a long, long time. That 4th inning seemed to take an eternity.
Took over a half hour.
And you had a long time to think about your trivia question, which I botched, but that's all right.
Producers usually don't get too well on the trivia questions. That one's outside 3-2. But as we said, Cherry Hill Pitman, back when they were just Cherry Hill, reached the Tri-County Finals in 2023, got swept by the Rough Riders, and then made it back in 2021. Also in 2019 as well. Before then, 2013 and 2011 were their last appearances. Mararchi walks to get the 7th started as Teddy Gorski with, wow, look at those pants. I mean, this is a turf field, so I don't know where all those stains came from. I don't think he showed up with those pants that dirty, but to each their own. Mararchi walks after going 0 for 2 in his prior at-bats. That one is fouled back. So the Sharpie has fallen out of favor, so we will have to go with just what we have for the remainder of the night. Definitely a great night for baseball, but not a great night for our Pens. We have lost one, unfortunately, got snapped in half after about 3 months of service. I mean, it was in rotation for a while, and then it just became the star of the show, the Universal Technical Institute pen. But always a time for something new. Rollins delivers a floater in the left field. That's going to drop for a base hit off of Gorski. It skips into the bullpen in left. Oh, the ball's stuck under the wall, and they're going to hold him up there.
And that's something that should have been discussed in ground rules, but because this isn't the home field for either of these teams, I think that kind of fell under the radar. But if the ball goes under a lip in the fence, the outfielder should be able to put his hands up and have it just be a dead ball. But again, this isn't the home field for either of these teams. It's a neutral site, so that is something that must have just flown under the radar for both of these ball clubs.
And to be entirely fair, that's not something that happens often here. You've got to hit it in that exact spot for it to ricochet off the bench and get stuck. So he was able to grab it, though. If the ball went under the fence, which has happened here, there have been a couple games during the summer where somebody left the gate open in left field and balls have just rolled right through, so they call the ball dead. So, you know, there's just situations where that ends up happening, and there's a strike call that's 0-2. So you got Viola with an 0-2 count, 2 runners on, after a single by walk by Mararchi. That one misses. And a single by Gorski. One ball, 2 strikes. Way early on that one. There's out number 1. CHP 2 outs away. And as we said, this has been a high-scoring series, 9-7 in Game 1. And CHP will, if they win it, end their series with a grand total of 20 runs scored across both Game 1 and Game 2.
And that's impressive considering that in the Tri-County, as you mentioned earlier in this game, that pitching is usually elite in this league, and so for a series like this to have such high scoring from both sides is definitely an outlier for most games that come in the Tri-County.
And the fact that these guys also have managed to get 5 runs alone, I mean, they got out of their 5 runs in the second inning, 4 of them were earned. Chris Rollins allowed as many earned runs in the second inning as he did that entire regular season. That's 9 starts. I mean, I just have never seen anything like it. Like, the fact that they pounced on him so much and then also had somewhat of a generational just turnaround for the bad. Like, you know, I haven't seen a game with so many topsy-turvy moments in years. That one's over the middle. They've got one. They throw to first, and they got him! Double play! And Cherry Hill Pitman, for the second year in a row, is back in the promised land. Chris Rollins with a complete game and a Carter Cup appearance. So here we go. 11-5, and Cherry Hill Pitman will have to wait until tomorrow night to figure out if their opponent is their same opponent from last year or if it's a rematch of the regular season regular champion and the second seed. Imagine what it would be if you had a number 1 and a number 2 seed in the finals. But kudos to the South Jersey Grizzlies. First ever appearance, you know, as a team that had to beat the South Jersey Crew, a brand new team, swept the Washington Township Grizzlies. They came into here with a lot of expectations. The bar was high against CHP, and they just couldn't get it in the end. But the fact that they got what they did off of Chris Rollins, there's 12 other teams that wouldn't be able to do that. So Nick Gruber needs to keep his head high. A lot of these guys need to keep their head high, whether you disagree with the calls or not, you know, whether you disagree with what happened on or off the field. These guys played a heck of a game.
Yeah, and I mean, as you mentioned, the Grizzlies were not here by accident. They definitely earned their ticket to the semifinal, and they just ran into a very experienced and good chemistry with this team from CHP. And again, Rollins has been the best pitcher in the league, as we mentioned, throughout the entire league. And they managed to put up 5 runs in 1 inning against them. So they have nothing to really hang their hat on, just a couple things that didn't go their way. And eventually the bats really got rolling for CHP. But for a while, it looked like it was the Grizzlies' game for the taking. And then CHP kind of kicked things in gear. But the Grizzlies, again, a great season, and they really have nothing to hang their heads on.
Exactly. I mean, going 13-9 in the regular campaign, having a better regular season record than the reigning champions, who, you know, the Rough Riders have also had a great season. And, you know, with Game 3 being tomorrow night, it's going to set up a big stage here, you know, and probably a big presence at Alcyon Park to see who they're going to play next week. So, you know, I'm excited to see what's going to happen because these guys have a lot to play for, and the Grizzlies can only go up from here. They have a young team. These are almost all high school and college guys. Evan Brassberger, who pitched in 7th, he's a rising senior at Gloucester Catholic, who, you know, is a team that is probably the greatest private school team in all of New Jersey, if not the entire Northeast. And, you know, they play their butts off, and they cruise their way to a 21st state championship. So, you know, you've got Nick Mararchi in the 9th spot, and Nick Nigro. You know, these are all young college guys. So I expect, assuming that nothing crazy happens off the field, for the Grizzlies to retain a lot of their roster next year. And guess what? For new players that want to play for the Grizzlies out of Runnymede, you can put on that resume that they made the semifinals for the first time in franchise history. This shows that a young team can work, but it also shows how the different archetypes of players work with each other, where Cherry Hill Pitman is an older team, mostly 30 and up, led by guys that have been playing for 15 plus years. Chris Rollins and Billy Rice, they played each other in college. They were friends when they were both minor leaguers for the Phillies and Cubs, respectively. And, you know, everybody else on this team, I don't think there's a single soul on that team that's under, like, 22. So, you know, look, that's what they are. And there might not be many guys on the Grizzlies that are over 22. So this is where the different archetypes and the different team building components, they clash together, and you can see what CHP was able to do there.
Right, and youth has its benefits when it comes to athleticism and just being more fresh. But I think that the experience that the CHP team has, again, you mentioned guys playing in the minor leagues, guys playing through the collegiate level. Some guys are now coaches at universities and high schools around the area, so they know the game and they know how to execute. And you saw it throughout this series, and that's why they're going on to the final round. And they're doing a very good job of just, again, they played textbook baseball today, and they did a great job of, not doing everything individual, but playing as a team, and we'll have to see if that continues for them in the final round.
Well, we'll stay tuned for the DWB post-game interview brought to you by Harper Driving School. It's Billy Rice, your player of the game, 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a heck of a night, both in the field and at the dish. We'll be right back with more after this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, player of the game presented by Harper Driving School. Billy Rice, former minor league outfielder and current Kips bad guys. Heck of a good guy. I mean, what a night for you. 2 RBIs, 3 for 4 to plate. And, just overall, you guys have seemed to take so many steps since the regular season. And, with Chris out there tonight, obviously you guys had a lot of adversity. More adversity than you've had in a long time. But now you guys are over the hill. You guys are in the Carter Cup next week. How do you feel out there tonight?
As a team, we feel great. Especially when Chris is on the mound, we know we're going to win. It was nice for him to put us in a position where we had to actually score some runs tonight. Usually one will do it. But as a team, we're focused. We're ready to go, man. I don't think there's a team in this league that can beat us. And ready for next week.
And for you specifically, as the leadoff guy of this team, you kind of have to carry the flag. You've got to set the tone. So, having that leadoff base hit and then getting yourself started there with those stolen bases, obviously, you are the flag bearer for this team that sets the tone a lot of times. And I don't think I've ever seen a game where you're not starting and in center field. So Kip and Chris have a lot of faith in you as a player. And when we talked to Chris at the end of game 1, after that 10-inning crazy thing, or in the quarterfinals, when we interviewed him after his complete game, he said specifically about you that you and him both have great chemistry, and you guys have been playing for each other for over a decade, basically. So, for you to be out there playing with basically your best friends, it's got to be a good feeling, right?
Absolutely. We got a real close-knit group of guys, and we love the game. We enjoy coming out here to the ball, and fortunate I missed the last game, but line, man, coming out here, they put some trust in me, let me lead off and really get our wheels turning. But I know all the guys in the lineup are going to follow me up.
Yeah, and especially that 5-run second inning definitely surprised me because look, Rollins in the regular season he allowed 4 earned runs all season. He allowed 4 runs in the second inning, 4 earned runs, and you guys came back from that like nothing had happened. What is that mindset like in the dugout? Because you guys aren't down a lot, and that's something to be proud of. You're 17-4. You guys really weren't down a whole lot, and in very rare situations were you down by 5. So what was that mindset in the dugout when you guys were entering like the third and you guys had that rough patch of it?
Well, yeah, and I just said it earlier, especially with Chris on the mound. You're exactly right. But I came in, let everybody know, calm down. We don't have to hit a bunch of home runs. We don't have to score 10 this inning. We just got to little by little work our way back and rely on Chris to shut him down. And we knew he was going to do that.
And you saw that firsthand where they kind of let it happen to themselves. You guys just hit the ball and kept the bat on your shoulders. And when the control got wild, you got some walks, got the bases loaded walks. 4 of your 8 runs in the 5th were on, or on the 4th rather, were on bases loaded walks. So you guys didn't need to do too much. You just played textbook baseball, and that's what I admire about this team is that you guys can play the game so fluidly with each other. While there's some other teams that feel like they're travel teams out there. There's a little bit of disconnect. You guys don't really have that. You said tight-knit group of guys couldn't be described any better.
Yeah, and we have a lot of veterans on this team, and I feel like we've been through these situations a lot. haven't gone our way, but we have faith in ourselves, each other, and the younger guys rely on us. So once we come through, you know, you see, sometimes you gotta let the game come to you.
Exactly.
It'll work out in your favor.
Exactly. And for you guys, your opponent is not set yet. Rough Riders beat CHBR. I'm sure the news spread through the dugout, but
It's not gonna matter.
it's not going to matter. But game 3 will be tomorrow night, and whoever you guys face, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm pretty sure are the dates for the Carter Cup Finals. So, look, you guys have a lot to play for. Champions in 2021, 2019. Now you guys are going to be in your 3rd Carter Cup in the last 5 years. So, what does this mean to you, for you guys as a team that, as probably the most historically successful team in recent Tri-County history, now being back in the main stage, ready to try again?
We're ready for the opportunity. You know, we come out here. We appreciate everything Kip does for the squad, and we know what this name on our jersey means and what we're working for. We got to take it home.
Well, we appreciate it, Billy. Thank you very much
Thanks
for the
for
support.
everything you do, Dan.
Of course, and best of luck next week. Thank you very
Thanks,
much. All right, so we were going to do our player signature, but we had 2 pens break in the middle of the broadcast. The DWB UTI pen snapped in half, and then we had a Sharpie that died out in 3 innings. So by tonight and tomorrow, I'll have to make a Staples trip before I go to Pitman tomorrow night. But you heard it here first. CHBR and Rough Riders, Thursday night, Game 3 baseball, 7 o'clock from Alcyon. That'll be our 3rd of 3 Tri-County semifinal games. And then, starting next week, we take the weekend off and then go over to Alcyon for not 1, not 2, but 6 baseball games in the Tri-County Carter Cup Finals, the 33rd annual. Now, of course, that could be 2, depending on who wins that series. It could be a sweep and a blowout, but we will have to see, and we will not know those results for a couple of days. And again, we don't know who CHP is going to play for another 24 hours. But I digress. CHP takes care of business, scoring 8 runs in the 4th inning and adding 3 as insurance in the 7th to take care of the South Jersey Grizzlies, to knock them out of their first ever semifinal appearance by a final score of 11-5. Your player of the game, Billy Rice, 4 for 5, 3 RBIs, and some great plays out in center field for the veteran and former Phillies minor leaguer. From everybody here at Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, our social media coordinators, Brandon Kegerland, Keely Curran, and Anthony DePalma, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Nelson Reeves. My producer and color commentator, I almost said Vincent Folks, Jake Clark, although Vince will probably be on the crew tomorrow night. I'm Dan Wilkins. Stay tuned tomorrow as we've got Game 3 do or die baseball to determine the 33rd Carter Cup Finals between Cherry Hill Babe Ruth and the reigning champion Haddonfield Rough Riders. That's all for us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow from Pitman. Have a good one, folks.